Mother Nature is threatening to freeze in a couple of days, and I need to go get my peppers harvested and whatever else I can get out of the garden. Hang on to your hats on this windy day. Let's go see what we can get harvested. Today is September 3rd. I'm in zone 4 outside of Minneapolis. And even though it's not normal to have a lot of frost this early, it does happen. And that's why our growing season's so short. So we need to be ahead of this cold snap. Peppers don't like it under 50°F. So I just need to harvest and try to store them the best I can. The garden's really starting to look sad anyway, so it's just time to get this done. I have a nice bushel basket here with me, and we'll use this to try to get some stuff harvested. Here's a quick look at the garden at its state, again, September 3rd. Tomatoes are starting to die back. They're determinate varieties of tomatoes. Corn is done. I've harvested what I can. I need to take the corn stalks out, and I will make corn stacks for fall decorations. And then here are my other tomatoes that I have. Some basil. And these are lunchbox peppers, which I'm going to move those into my garage for the cold snaps because we're going to have an Indian summer. It will warm up. I just need to get as much done as I can. Let's see what else I got out here as I'm out harvesting. So I got basil I need to pull out of here. There's a pumpkin. I'm going to let the pumpkin stay on the vine. It has been my experience that when pumpkins are harvested, they spoil pretty fast. So maybe about 3 weeks. So they have to cure and do all of that. And this is just not quite ready, even though it's brilliant orange. So I have some watermelon, which are really, really small here, hanging off this watermelon plant. And, you know, they're not going to be done for quite some time. I don't know if they'll make it to harvest. That's a part of the problem with living in a short and where you have a short growing season, because it just takes forever for things to ripen, and this is really at the edge of my capabilities in this zone. Try the best to keep that wind in my back. So I've got a bucket out here that I typically use for harvesting, and I'm going to leave the tomatoes, except for the ones that have a little bit of color on them. I'm going to go back. I actually have some cucumbers that I let grow. These are pickling cucumbers, but I wanted them, get back through the jungle here. These are pickling cucumbers, but I wanted them to, for slicers, because we like to eat them like that too, because I'm done with my pickling. I'm not going to get enough to get any more quarts. The vines are at the end of their happiness, so let's have to try to pick what we can. So here's some here. And these are really nice for slicing, I find, and we put them on salads. I got one here. I won't pull this vine out till it dies completely because I want to be able to get as many. Maybe we'll get lucky and the frost will skip over us. Gotta look up here. I got the cucumbers are growing into the corn a little bit. And some of this corn looks like, looks like it's healthy corn, but it's not. It's really tiny and it didn't get fertilized, so that's not viable. Let's see what else I got for cucumbers. You guys are probably on screen saying, look at that one, take that one. Looks like I don't see them. Notice a couple more out here. Oh, right here. There's one here. Lift the flowers up. So you can see I've got lots of flowers on these, but these are mainly male flowers. There's no fruit. You can see I've got lots of flowers on these, but they're mainly male flowers, meaning there's no little fruit buds on them. So here's a female. That's the difference. You've got a little fruit on there. I don't know if I got any other smaller ones I can point out. The difference between the male and female. Cucumbers are temperamental. They need very specific heat and temperatures and sunlight in order to continue to produce. There's another female if it gets fertilized. So again, lots of nice male buds. There's another little one. I have some little cucumbers developing here. If if it gets warm, it stays warm enough and we don't get the frost, maybe they will still be okay. So I'll take what I can get for right now and enjoy it on a salad. Here's a great big cucumber that I missed a few times. I don't know if it'll be very good eating. If I take the seeds out, maybe. That's not good. If you let them get big like this, it'll actually kill the vines. I'll look and see if I got any other ones I've missed. These cucumbers succumb to really bad weather conditions. We had a really bad storm that kind of took my trellis down, and then we got substantial rain, and they started rotting on the vines, which is really kind of a bad deal. So they're just pretty much done. And then the temperature changes just made it so that I couldn't get fruit. So I'm going to come out this week, I think, if I can get time. I'm going to rip these out because I need a place to store some of my overwintering things. And I'm going to use these beds for that. So what I've been doing more often than not is just, if it's got any color on it whatsoever, I've been harvesting them and taking them in my house just to try to get them off the vines, because I just don't, this whole frost thing has got me worried. I got such a late start this year. I may actually have to try to purchase tomatoes if anybody has them up until we get the frost. Just want to get as many tomatoes as I can. I really wanted 20 quarts of sauce, and I don't think that's going to happen. I prefer to grow my own food. Being an avid gardener and buying fruit from a different farmer breaks my heart. It just does. It's like there's just something wrong with that. Like I should have had better luck. So I'm going to pull all of these that are yellow too off here, or at least orangey yellow. And I'm going to move them inside, and I'll put a picture in here showing you how I'm storing them inside. Just really hoping I get more to ripen before frost actually comes and takes them down. I'm going to have to decide, do I want to come and harvest all the green ones off the night before it's supposed to get cold? So Saturday night, we're looking at 39 degrees. And you can come and clean the vines off completely, which is something I may do. Saturday morning, come out and just grab everything I can. Zone 4, it can be really a tough zone to garden in. I don't get extended seasons a lot. A lot of years we don't get an extended season, so I wonder if this means we're going to get early snow. I always wonder about that. You always think that summer's over once you get that first frost, and usually we can get a snow within 1 week of having our first hard frost, so hopefully not. If you look under some of my tomato plants here, you can see I've got a lot of really nice green tomatoes. A lot of them aren't very big, some of them are. My tomatoes just really took a hit this year. Some of them I planted pretty late, and I'm not even seeing a whole lot of flowers on them. There's just barely coming, and I don't know if I've got enough daylight or enough heat to be able to produce fruit anymore this year other than what's already set. Checking my record, the last time I had a bumper tomato crop and made sauce, I had all of my sauce made by the end of August, and I'm already in September and haven't even made 1 quart, so it's not looking good. We're just going to do the best we can. The reason we came is to get peppers, and you can see this pepper plant snapped under the weight of all of the peppers that are on here. It's just absolutely loaded. So I'll set the camera up and so you can watch the harvest. We have significant wind right now, about 15 miles an hour, so I'm going to try to do this without the camera stand dropping off on me. Just shut the door of the garden, maybe it'll give me a little bit of a wind block. So I'm hoping that this, you can see in here okay. I've got my bushel basket here next to the camera stand, and we're going to go in and try to harvest these peppers. So the peppers are really huge this year. So this particular variety is called California Wonder, and it looks like it had a little bit of mutation, like a little insect damage, but I don't care. We'll harvest them anyway. That's a pretty good size pepper. We had so much rain this year that they just did really well. I gently put them in my basket. Try to harvest the rest of this. I've got a little dill tangled in here. Oh, it popped up really nice all on its own. We'll see if the rest of them will do that. Again, I got a little insect damage, but I don't care. It will be fine. I'll look and see where the rest of them are. Oh, that pops off really nice. I didn't even need a scissor. Look at how well that separated. So that one came up. Another one, nice one. So let me know what zone you live in. Oh, look at that whole branch had popped off. Good thing I'm harvesting today. Let me know in the comments what zone you garden in and when is your first frost date. I know I had years ago frost in early September, and it took all my raspberries before I could harvest. So I kind of remember that as a lesson to always harvest if you want to make sure you got good produce before the frost takes it. Quite a few. I'm still harvesting from the same plant. I think that is it for that plant. Other than some really tiny ones, which I really don't care that much about. I won't take the plant out because you just never know. Maybe the Indian summer will be enough to make them survive and it won't get cold enough to kill the plant. So let's go to plant number 2. So this is plant number 2. I've got some dill in here, which I'm just going to snap off because I don't need dill right now. Oh, maybe I could dry it, make soup with it. Oh, maybe I'll put it in the basket and look up some recipes. I have another batch of dill I'm going to keep because I am going to collect the seeds for next year. I'd like to try to harvest seeds as much as I can. So I'll just cut that off and get it out of my way for right now. Set it aside. All right, let's get in here and get the rest of these peppers. I've got a rogue tomato coming up in the middle. So this is my next pepper plant. We got a couple more there. There's just not as many peppers on this plant. I don't know if it's because it wasn't on the end. Maybe it didn't get enough sun. The first pepper plant had a lot more sun. This one's a little bit more hidden. Yeah, that didn't have any peppers on it at all. And let's go to the third plant, see what we got. I don't know if I got any peppers on this one. It's interesting. Oh, here we go. A couple of them are in there. Pull them up like that. More coming there. There's another one. I've got some smaller ones in here. I'll leave those on there. I can only store so many peppers in my refrigerator. And they have to be stored. I don't plan on processing them right away. So I wanted these peppers to make it and to turn red. That's the color I was looking for. So this is an immature pepper, but it still will be good eating. I just wanted them to be red. I just think it looks more festive when they are. So here in the basket, I got about 14 really nice peppers. And that's probably about enough to store in my refrigerator. I wouldn't be able to store any more than that. So we'll go from there. And I think this weekend, maybe I'll make stuffed peppers for the first time in a long time. That'll be good. So hopefully you can see just how big this basil plant is. It's really massive. I need to come in and cut it. I do have some seed heads on here that I'll pick these seed heads off so it doesn't get bitter on me. The reason that I need the basil is because I love putting it in my tomato sauce when I do canning. Again, if I get to do any canning. On this side of this garden bed, I've got a bunch of herbs. I've got some nice garden sage, which I'm going to harvest. And then I've got carrots over beyond that I'm going to leave until frost because they can take a frost and it can hurt them. And I've got some rosemary, which also can take frost. And some little onions, which I think also will be okay. The dill here, which is waving in the wind, that can stay there. I really want that to go to seed so I can store it for next year. If we take a little closer look, here are my onions. I got some rosemary, some smaller carrots, and then my really big carrots are over here. And they have been really good for our pollinators for the year. If you look down in, if we can see down in there, there's some really nice large carrots in there. I think maybe I'll pull one up just so we can take a look. But these will go for a long time. And this is a shorter variety. This is called Danvers. And these will double in size through the end of October, and I'll still be able to harvest. So maybe I'll have carrots tonight. I have my brother-in-law coming over for supper. We're going to have pork tenderloin. Maybe I'll do some carrots with some fresh rosemary roasted. That sounds really good. Here's a couple of really nice carrots I got for tonight's supper. I'll roast them in the oven with olive oil and rosemary, maybe some thyme. It'll be delicious. The one thing that I always do is I check over the greens of the carrots to make sure there's no caterpillar larvae. The swallowtail butterflies love to use the carrots as a host plant. We don't want to be hurting our pollinators. Warm weather crops like tomatoes, peppers just don't like cold weather. 40 degrees and they start to really get unhappy really fast. And I want to try to preserve as much of my crop as possible. But we were able to get a few things. We got tomatoes, peppers, I think that's everything, right? And then I need to come back out before that frost and harvest a bunch of basil too, because I really like the basil. I've made a ton of pesto already. So that wasn't too bad of a garden harvest. Again, if I get right on the eve of that frost that's coming, or the potential of frost, I'll come and clear off the rest of the tomatoes. We'll go look in the house and see where I have my tomatoes stored, and I'm just waiting for them to ripen, and maybe I get enough for 1 quart. That's just so disappointing. But better luck next year. That's the essence of gardening. If this tour is helpful, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great videos. If you like garden tours, check this playlist next. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.